BYU Sports Nation continues live from Studio B. I am Spencer Linton. That is Kristen Kozlowski. And we continue with our high-level interviews and welcome in the BYU quarterback, the fabulous and outstanding Jake Retzlaff is back in studio. It's been a while since you've been here, Jake.
It has. I don't remember the last time I've been sitting here in Studio B. I think I came for the Kalani show, but I haven't been here in a while.
Yeah,
so
maybe
cool
right after you signed?
Yeah, I think that's the last time.
So thanks for joining us in person, man.
Of course, it's about time. It's overdue.
You're a busy man, so
Yeah.
to get you, we're very grateful to have you back.
Happy to be on here. This is the best show there is. So
let's talk about some of your recent travels, which included New Orleans and the Super Bowl. What was that weekend like?
Yeah, so I got an incredible opportunity to go out and speak, part of a Unity Summit through the Robert Kraft Foundation. It was cool. It was bringing Jewish athletes together with African-American athletes. I got to speak on a panel with Greg Joseph, Leonard Fournette, Nancy Lieberman, and so it was really fun. It was moderated by Jess Sims, and it was
wow.
Yeah, it was a. And then right after we spoke, Robert Kraft went up and spoke with Meek Mill, who's like one of his buddies. Which draw that connection, it's hard to draw.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, that one is not believable on paper, but.
You had to be there to see that.
No,
Robert Kraft and Meek Mill dapping it up.
No, 100%. And they're like totally buddies and everything. It's like, it's legit. When you see them talking together, you know it's a legit friendship and stuff. But yeah, it is hard to believe.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
So if you could summarize the messages that came out of that conference, what would it entail?
Oh, man. It was so powerful. I'll tell you what. If you don't know the Nancy Lieberman story, that's the story. Go look it up. She is such an impressive individual. She's basically the pioneer of the WNBA.
Yes.
She did all the sports and everything like that with like the least amount of incentive. She was just the pioneer. She did it for the love of the game. She did it to raise up women's basketball in the public view. And so it was so cool to hear from her and get her contact and be able to keep in touch with her, as well as guys like Leonard Fournette and Greg Joseph. And those guys all got incredible stories about just being you. I think my biggest takeaway, it was something that was repeated over and over again. It was kind of like, just be unapologetically you. Like that was kind of the main takeaway that I got from the conference. And it was, like I said, it was so powerful to hear from all the different individuals and just know that like there's a great, force out there of unity between the Jewish community and the black community that's super strong. And so just lifting each other up together it's so fun and so great to be part of a community like that. It was just a blessing to be able to go out there.
I love it.
And very grounding, I think, to hear, you know, doing it for the right reasons, because it can get so muddied right now with NIL and transfer portal and everything, right? But you also have another event that you were telling us a little bit about that you're going to tomorrow. Yeah,
so this is a BBYO conference, which is the biggest like teen conference for Jewish Americans, and so it's in Denver, and I'm headed up there as one of the keynote speakers. So it's super cool. When they invited me up, they told me that you know you're making a difference when they tell you you were the most requested speaker at the event for all the kids. And so I was like, I can't turn that down. And so I got them to also fly my parents up to Denver. And so my brothers both go to school at Colorado State Pueblo right now. And so it's going to be cool to see everybody, get everybody back together in Denver, a little family trip in a way. But
yeah,
I'm excited to speak and talk to these kids. And I believe it's mostly like teenagers, high school kids and stuff like that, all Jewish kids. And so like the opportunity to be able to go through an event like that, just with a ton of Jewish kids and Jewish people that are like me, it's super powerful. It's super awesome for me, and because it's the opposite of what I do on a day-to-day, right? I'm here in Utah where there's not a lot of Jews, and so it's super fun to be able to do stuff like that and just connect with the community and give back to the programs that brought me up.
Listen,
amazing.
We're just glad that you're in the BI state, okay? We're glad that you chose BYU, man.
We are the lucky ones.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm more lucky than you guys know, but.
I'm looking back on just like 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, at what your life was then compared to what it is now. So how would you, if you could go back in a time machine and talk to that Jake, what would you say to him?
That's a good question. It sounds corny, but I'd be like, just keep your head down and grind, man. It's going to be worth it. What you're doing, because when you're in junior college and you're going through the grinds, the days in the days out, and you're working your tail off, and like it's hard to see like what's to come of this. You're just hoping and praying that a coach catch a coach's eye and they like you and they want to recruit you. And so like that whole process can be so brutal that it's hard to be like self-motivated and stuff. And I had a great support system from my family. Playing with my brother was incredible. Teammates at Golden West, my best friends growing up who were a year younger than me, so they were finishing their senior year as I was in junior college, and like it was super cool to have that support. But man, at the same time, it was like I would just tell myself, man, just keep grinding. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing the right thing. Keep grinding. You're going to be all right. Like, and then hopefully give myself some comfort at the same time, getting me to continue to perform better and just always keep getting better.
Love it. Well, we know you have an incredible work ethic. So what does your off season look like in terms of what you're putting in work, and what are you hoping to improve on?
Yeah, I mean, number one thing this offseason, you know, we ended so late, right? The December 28th game, I got to go home for 1 week, and then we were right back here for school starting. And so it was a quick turnaround. So really, honestly, the early parts of the season, early parts of the offseason, it's about getting back to 100%, because that season does wear on you a lot. I mean, by the bowl game, I was pretty close as you can get that late in the year, but getting back to 100%, then getting the body and improving on it. During the season, my big thing, I'm talking to Dan, our nutritionist, Dan Wilcox, Dan the man, as he goes by in the building. Huge shout out to Dan, he's incredible. Just getting the body percentage, fat percentage down, getting the body right again, and like that's number one for me right now, especially getting into spring ball. That and then back in the film room like always, you know what I mean? The film room is what helped me put together the season I got to put together, and what's going to help us get to the next step, because we're on the verge.
Yeah.
Like I kept saying that all year, we were on the verge of being one of the best offenses in the country, and talking to A-Rod this offseason, looking back on the team, we're like, man, we were one more touchdown a game for being a top 5 offense in the country, one more third down, one more red zone score, like one more of these stats. They seem little, but you do them all and you're a top 5 offense in the country, and that's what we're trying to be. So, you know, right now it's the strength staff, you know, has us in the palm of their hands, and, you know, they're getting us dialed up. Yesterday was one of the hardest workouts of the offseason. These last 3 weeks before, or 2 weeks now before spring ball, they're really going to kick our butts, which is great for us. It's really good. But yeah, and I mean, first things first is getting the body right, getting the body fat percentage, trying to get down to 10%, so I can feel good and run good, and then it's spring ball.
The margin between great and elite is so razor thin.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm glad you pointed that out. And BYU is a program, and you and your teammates are of the mindset that when you feel disrespected, you seem to thrive. Like it just for whatever reason, and it's been this way forever at BYU. Like when there is perceived disrespect or overlooking, that seems like when BYU plays some of their best football.
No doubt.
I don't think you're sneaking up on anybody this year.
No.
So what is that edge that you will take this year that will motivate you and push all of you to another level?
Yeah, so my biggest thing is, like, we need to learn from last season as much as we learned from the season before. Last offseason was the obvious motivators, right? I mean, being a 5-7 team, going to the offseason, like, we know we were better than that from the beginning. And so going into last offseason was easy. This offseason's a little different, but you got to find ways to still learn from last offseason. We know we could have won every game we played last year. I mean, you guys saw it. I mean, we were, what, a total of 4 yards away from, 13-0 and playing in the, all the conference championship game in the playoffs. And so knowing that the offseason that we went through last year put us in that position allows us to just buy in even more, to believe even more, because when you come off a season when you're 5-7, man, you're looking around like, man, we got to do something different.
Yeah.
But now it's like, man, we were doing it right. So now let's push the envelope even more. We're not winning workouts anymore. Like we used to break it down on win all the time. We're going to win this workout, win this practice, win this, what we're doing, this rep, win it all. Now it's dominate. Like we had a lot of close games this year, and we want less close games because we're winning by 2-3 scores. Like that's the mindset that I'm trying to instill in this team, that we are trying to instill in this team, is that it's dominate now, guys. It's leave no doubt. We don't want to hang around with anybody else. Like we want to make sure that we are clear top team in the country, because even when we got up to 6th in the country last year, like people were still like laughing.
Fraudulent. Yeah, that word was common.
Yeah, they just laughed at us no matter what. And so it was awesome to end the season on such a high note, winning that big bowl game, and then people realizing, oh, is this BYU team actually pretty good? And seeing Arizona State go and give Texas a good fight was cool, but we knew that we could have easily been in that position, man. I mean, watching the Big 12 championship actually like physically hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember sitting in front of the TV watching that game, and I was just like upset, because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, we should have beat that Arizona State team, which would have put us in the Big 12 championship, and whoever we would have played, we would have beat them by a lot. And so knowing that, it just is another motivator for this offseason, knowing that we can be that number one, for me, it's that #1 offense in the country. And our defense was a top defense in the country last year, and they did a heck of a job, and they're going to be even better this year. I believe that with our core that's coming back, and that's both sides of the ball. But, I know I can control that offensive side of the ball, and so that dominate mentality is going to be different for us. We're going to take pride in kicking our defense's butt in spring.
I love it. Well, you enter your 3rd season with the offense. So as a leader, how important is that going in as the 3rd year? Yeah,
it's huge. I've definitely held myself accountable to the point of taking the next step in leadership, right? Like, regardless of where you are as a leader, last year being in a competition as close as it was with a great leader like Gary was, different in the dynamic of me with the team, right? I mean, I had to worry about first comes first is like, I got to win my job, and so I could be the guy on the field. And then it's lead the team from there. Now, being established, it's a different mentality coming back. It's not so like, I don't know if defensive's the right word, because it's not a great word for like your actions or what you're doing on the field. It's more like now we're understanding we're growing in different ways together. It's kind of hard to describe, but just making sure I'm taking that leadership step, making sure I'm, the thing we say in the quarterback room a lot is the hardest part about the standard is you are the standard. And so for us, that means we're showing up to workouts early. That means we're doing the extra stuff. That means, guys see us working harder than we need to be. Like, and when, a young guy especially sees these older guys, and it's great to see like me and Jack Kelly work out next to each other, like right across the way. Harrison Tiger, Jack Kelly are right there. And then I'm working out with the quarterbacks right across the way. So we're seeing them work hard. They're seeing us work hard. And so, like, for young guys especially to see that, and that's where the culture builds, is when they see the dudes who made so many plays last year. Like Jack Kelly, man, you would be like, dude, do whatever you want in the workouts. We know you're showing up on game day. But that's not Jack at all. Jack is in the weight room throwing up weight. Him and Harry lift together, and they're throwing up weight, and they're getting stronger, getting faster, and we're racing all the time. And even when we're out in the field, like I love racing with the linebackers because that group works so hard. And so the linebackers are right next to me, and we're all sprinting next to each other. And so and they win some, I win others. And so it's super fun, that competitive edge. And so all we can hope is, man, not only develop better ourselves by doing that, but also leading the way that way. Because, like I said, you are the standard. So if you're going to be pushing it, regardless of your status on the team, regardless of who you are, you're never arrived.
Jake, it's a pleasure to have you in studio. Great to catch up with you, man.
Yeah.
And, hey, you've got the karma now to go to Denver and deliver a powerful message, which I know you will. I joked with your dad when we were in Phoenix that I'm going to get down to Southern California and play SoCal golf with you and your dad at some point this offseason. Let's go. Yeah, just appreciate what you do for BYU and how you represent, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure. A little late, but better late than never.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll get you back sooner next time.
Absolutely.